Greetings and salutations. Welcome to Friday, everybody. How goes thee? I hope everybody's having a great week. Yeah, don't ask me about that intro this morning. I don't know. It's I've only had one cup as opposed to my 3 cups of coffee. I did not go to the gym. I'm feeling a little lazy this morning, but that's all right. It's Friday, and I don't give a damn. Yeah. Anyway, hope everybody's having a good week this week. We're gonna get this party started. I'm pumped about the guest that we got. I got a special guest today. He's the founder of True Patriot Outfitters. He's the host of Doc Talk podcast. You could find that right here on Heroes Media Group. None other, Mr. Gene Campbell. Gene, what's going on, buddy?
Good morning, brother. Thank you so much, man, for having me on here. Happy
Absolutely.
Friday.
Appreciate you, buddy. I appreciate you. How goes it? Why don't you let's dive into this and let's get the viewers figure out, like, who is this handsome fellow with the having a nice setup? Let's figure this.
Somebody else jump into camera frame here. I got a face for radio, man.
Oh man, let's dive into it, man.
Yeah.
Let's tell the viewers and listeners a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, man. So, well, man, where to start? So the competitive fishing landscape. Well, actually, let's start on the I guess the resume side of things. I'm a dude that spent 20 plus years serving time in the IT industry. And did that for the majority of my professional career, if you will. Very thankless, kind of pointless job, to be honest with you. I always found my inner souls secured by the work that I did outside of my professional career. I'm a former first responder with the Larimer County Dive Rescue Team. Got to that late in life and realized that community service was a big part of who I was inside. Yeah. And I also coached youth athletics from literally started coaching at 4th and 5th grade and ended my career retiring as a high school football coach. And did that for almost 20 years. Coached football primarily. Also did some. I'm a former hockey goaltender, so I got that kind of, like, wiring broke apart in my head.
Really?
Yeah. My best hockey buddy from long ago said, "You got to be a special kind of to want to be a goaltender." He wasn't wrong. And then the last part of my coaching career, I actually got into track and field. It was a good natural transition from football in the fall to track in the spring, and kept us in touch with a lot of our athletes, throughout, which was helpful. So that's where I got the give back feeling, right? And I've always wanted to do that, be a part of community somewhere, serve somewhere. That was that kind of led me there. Well, fast forward through. Had 2 kids, got a divorce, and then reunited with my almost high school sweetheart, if you will. She and I dated for a couple of years right after high school, for me, and we parted on good terms. She went off, got married, had 2 kids. I went off, got married, had 2 kids. Well, as life would have it, we crossed paths again, and got it right this time. And when you have somebody that supports you, she knew my dreams of fishing and where I wanted to go with the competition and so forth. So I outkicked my coverage with her, dude, in a major way. She is definitely the brains of this operation, and I don't know how I donked her on the head, properly to get that eyesight just squirrely enough to say yes to me. But yeah, she supported me from day one with this idea that I was going to go make competitive fishing a career. And I applied the business degree, my master's business degree. I applied that to trying to create a business model that would work on how we could do this. Kind of had a good idea for it, so we started. Literally, COVID year was supposed to be the first year. Had a brand new boat, had a good dealership that was my sponsor, and man, we were ready to get after it, right?
Yeah.
And then COVID. So we got like 4 or 5 events in that year. That was it. The following year was our 4-year plan. We moved back from Minnesota back here to Colorado. So I got in about 4 or 5 events that year. So here I had this bass boat that barely had 50 hours on the motor. Man, it was ridiculous. but I had to give up all the other things to chase that dream. I retired from coaching. Like I said, the wife stood me up on this and said, go for it. You got a couple of years in the budget to go after it.
Yeah.
And so I left all that. And to be honest with you, just focusing on me and me alone is what it felt like. And quite frankly, it just went against kind of the makeup of me internally. And I didn't realize that at first, but it started to come clean to me. So I started doing some volunteering for some nonprofits, working with vets, working with kids, introducing them to the sport, sharing my passion for fishing with them. And probably the most influential trip of my life that's ever happened was with the Warrior Bonfire Program.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Retired Lieutenant Colonel Mike Foss is the president of that. And his awesome team over there. Well, they asked me through connection, they asked me to go to Vienna, Missouri and spend 4 or 5 days with 6 Purple Heart recipient combat wounded vets on a private property, private lodge, private lake. And he said, bring your boat, bring your gear, and share bass fishing with these guys if you wouldn't mind. And I said, I'd be honored. So I canceled a Lake of the Ozarks tournament that I was going to go to close out the year. And I went there instead, just a few more hours past Lake of the Ozarks to Vienna, Missouri. And brother, it changed my life. To be allowed in that space. I'm not a veteran myself. I'm a very unapologetic, patriotic American citizen. I did have my swing with the U.S. Navy in the early 90s and got caught up in the Navy cutbacks. Total different podcast for that. But I'm not a United States veteran. And so to share that space and be allowed in that space and to hear these stories with these amazing, giant human beings in my mind, was it I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it, man. It blew me away. It was an honor to hear these stories. And I realized something real quick that, you know what, no matter how much I want to, I'll never understand fully. Okay. And that's all right. I don't have to. Like, you know, I've never walked in those boots. I've never been in that sand. And I've never had that pressure, that demand, you know, those type of things coming at me. Yeah. And that's okay, though. I don't need that to understand the severity, to understand the importance, and to appreciate the sacrifice. You know, here I am, this goofball driving around with this flashy, glittery bass boat, and it's because of men like that I could do what I was doing.
Right.
And it was at the end. So I had GC Fishing LLC, like everybody, you know, did. You buy my fishing rod, buy my jig, you know, here's a fishing line I use. You should try it too. And at the end of that, the Warrior Bonfire Program, they're retiring a flag, doing the stripes, the stripes, you know, the retirement and with the bonfire, and everybody's saying their goodbyes, because the next morning we all get on planes and they all get on planes. I load up my boat, head back to Colorado, and former Bradley commander Mike, old boy from Louisiana, he sits up and he looks over at the property owner, Dave, and myself. Neither one of us are vets. He says, you know what, boys? And it was in this big Creole Southern Louisiana, you know, accent. He did it. I'm not even going to try because I'll murder it. He says to me, both of us, he says, you boys may not be vets, but I'll tell you what, you're citizens worth fighting for. And in my eyes, you are true patriots. Yeah. And brother, I spent 2.5 hours talking my wife's ear off on the drive home saying, honey, we got to change course. I have figured out what it is, you know, because Adam, to that point, you know, Dad's always been the best title I've ever been called by my 2 kids, Dad. Yeah. And right beneath it was Coach. It's such an honor to have these players still 20 some odd years later hit me up on the DMs, Coach, how you doing type thing. But I got to tell you, man, Coach took number 3 to that man calling me a true patriot. I came home, and literally after 13 hours on the road, within 30 minutes of getting home, I had the DBA, True Patriot Outfitters, locked up with the state of Colorado.
Oh, wow.
And it was shortly thereafter, I think like a year after, whatever, we closed down the LLC. We shut it down completely. I released the DBA, and then I re-registered the DBA as a nonprofit. And this is what we do now, man. We serve those that serve. And we just go around, and now we just do it out of kayaks. Big difference. But we, you know, introduce people, get people out there. Therapeutic recreation is the umbrella, and just try to get them hooked on the outdoors and try to let them see the power that does exist out there of quieting things down, and getting focus and community, man. Holy crap. The kayak community is amazing. You probably haven't experienced that kind of tribal connection since serving, you know, and that's what's, those are the things I try to be the conduit to bridge that. So pretty much that's it. And the podcast was just a matter of, hey, how do we get more people to know about this crap?
Yeah.
So that's what we spun up.
Well, Heather, Elizabeth, good morning. Ken, good morning, brother. Appreciate you guys jumping on. Gene, I want to back up a little bit about the fishing stuff. You and I have talked a lot offline, and me being an avid angler myself, an amateur angler, I would say at best. I love getting on the water. Making the change from being on, from bass fishing in a boat to the kayaks. What prompted the kayaks? I have mixed. Nothing against kayaks.
Yeah,
I have mixed feelings on the kayaks, and that's probably because I'm not a small guy, but I've seen bigger people in these kayaks moving around, and it's like dancing on water. I mean, it's almost like an art form. But why the kayaks? What prompted that?
To be honest with you, it was the service that made the most sense. So as I said, I have a master's in business administration. So before I do anything, dude, I plan it out, and it's got to make sense to me. If the calculator says it makes sense, then I'll start entertaining it. Yeah. I can want something all I want, but if the numbers don't line up, doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, it's going to be short-lived. Yeah. So for me, the cost of operating a 21-foot bass boat, while I do miss the cushy 96-inch beam, the nice soft front deck, the fact that the wind could blow 10, 12 mile an hour and my boat would move, I could cut 3 and 4 footers like butter. Sure. And I could cover, 60, 80 miles in a day on a lake. Nope. Yeah. I do miss some of those things. The 70 mile an hour holding a cup of coffee, waving at the walleye boats as I go flying by. That was kind of cool, not going to lie. But I started to change my focus with that I was not so much there for my own personal competition. And it's a double-edged sword, man. It's a tricky tightrope to walk because competitive fishing was the draw.
Right.
Otherwise, I'm just some other monkey out there with a fishing rod. I was no different than anybody else. So we had that on our side, which is what helped grab attention. And we could use that then to bring attention to recreational therapy and the need to serve our community. So I had to figure out the business model. And brother, it was, as you're a boat owner, it's not cheap.
No, boats are not cheap. And so my next question then is just like, do you sell the boat and then, or keep the boat, or do you start investing in a bunch of kayaks? I mean, if you're taking people out on kayaks, do they have to supply their own kayak? Do you have kayaks for them to use? How does that work?
Yeah, man, we went down and started, when we had the idea of going to the kayak side so we could actually serve more people than just one or two on the boat at a time. We started calling a list of companies. What I did is I went through and looked at the products out there. Stability was the number one thing.
Yeah.
Needed to make sure whatever we had, because at the time, I'm 6'1" at the time. I'm 250 pounds, got me a, overly inflated dad bod at the time going on. And I'm like, dude, I'm going to be out there like, dexterity of a bear cub with boxing gloves on. Right. I am not going for a swim. That's not my idea. I never fell off my boat. Thank God. I don't want to fall out of a kayak. I kicked a few rods and stuff into the water, sure, off the deck. Yeah. But, it's like, so stability was a big deal, affordability, fishability, all those things. And the company that responded the fastest and checked all the boxes was New Canoe. Brian Romans and I of the Romans Warrior Foundation, I was his program manager, still am his program manager for the Field Ops Division. Yeah. Brian Romans and I got to talk, and I did some looking into Heroes on the Water because they provide that same type of deal. Mm-hmm. And by to make a long story short, it rolled down. Brian and I said, why don't we do it? Let's just do it right here through Romans. So Romans stood us up in the very beginning of the first time, and we talked to New Canoe. New Canoe made us a heck of an offer. Blake Young over there, he's a United States Navy vet himself. And we put it together, man, and we got 4 kayaks. We got things rolling, and then it was just up to me to find a way to get butts in them.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, I was making the transition. I went 2 feet in, but I held on to my boat to like September of that year because I'm just like, I don't want to get rid of it. But yeah, we realized by the fall, it's like, dude, you love kayaking. You love the community. It's serving you. So sell the boat.
So, Gene, where do you take these? And those of you listening, David, good morning, brother. If you guys are watching, you're online. If you guys are either watching this or listening to this later on throughout the weekend, as a lot of you do, make sure you go check out True Patriot Outfitters. And so do you, I don't know where this, where
do we go?
Yeah, where are you based out of, and where do you go? I mean, you mentioned earlier you went from Minnesota down to Colorado. So are you guys just in the Colorado area right now?
No, we serve the entire Midwest. Obviously, I live in Colorado, so we're based out of the metro area. But to do competitive fishing, you got to be a part-time truck driver. So, dude, driving's no big deal. We're going to put 10, 12 hours on. Let's get her done. Let's get down the road. To me, it's more about the experience. So if we can create, we keep our span of control to like 2 to 3 people max at a trip.
Okay.
We've got a great deal worked out with Stanley Lake Regional Park out of Westminster, Colorado. So that's kind of our home waters, if you will, right here in the metro area. No boats allowed on that water. It's paddle and kayak only. They allow electric motors. So it's a awesome, perfect location for us to go. And it's got pretty decent fishing in there. That's tough, which is good because that keeps the majority of the folks out of it. If you got to know how to fish that water, and then if you know how, you can actually get on some pretty good fish. So that's always a good deal. But we'll go. What we try to do is like this year we're going to be going to Nebraska. We're going to we're trying to put together a Missouri trip right now. We'll be going to Kansas. So we'll go because Colorado. I mean, not for nothing. Colorado's not known for great bass fishing. We have some of the hardest conditions to fish, gin clear, cold water, no weeds.
Yeah.
Yay. Trying to chase bass.
Fishing, I think more of like, Ozarks down in Missouri, great bass fishing in Missouri.
Yeah.
Florida has got some great bass fishing on some of their northern lakes up there. Out here, I say out here, out in Pennsylvania area, there's some lakes out here that I go to bath, and then northern Wisconsin. I go up. We've talked offline.
Yeah.
And my northern Wisconsin trip up to Hayward in the summers.
I love northern bass fishing. That's a ton of fun.
That's it. I mean, it's fun, and it's whether you're smallmouth, largemouth. Doesn't matter when it comes to. I just want to be on the water.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like give me a couple poles, get me out on the water.
More times than not, the guys we've taken out, be them from combat vets to non-combat vets, the folks we've taken out there, the statement comes back that with or without fish, dude, this is amazing. Kayaks offer a completely different world that boats can't offer. And what that is a very intimate setting with the outdoors.
Yeah.
Brother, you are in their home when you're in that kayak. Now, keep in mind, we're sitting up. They're 42 inches wide, 12 and a half long. They're very stable. I stand up in them. I've had guys that we've taken out that have never been in a kayak, and within 30 minutes, they're standing up throwing a buzzbait. And it's like, this is awesome stuff. That's how stable the Unlimited is.
I would be the one that would fall over.
This would be good because we've not had anybody really go in.
Dumbasses in the water.
Okay, there's a kayak and nobody in it. Who's missing?
Yeah, I've always like. I mean, I've kayaked several times before, but every time I'm in it, I'm afraid to even sneeze because I'm just gonna.
Well, see, and that's the thing is when people think kayak, they think the sit down in. You're locked in there. That's not what we do. Look at newcanoe.com. Check out the Unlimited. These are the
ones that sit up on top, right?
Yeah, you sit on top, not in them. Yeah. These are designed, especially New Canoe. We are designed for hunting and fishing, the outdoors. Dude, we got duck blinds that hook up to these things. Guys duck hunt out of these. You'll see, what's up, Matt? How are you, buddy? you'll see on our site there, you'll see guys that'll use these to go up and down river deer hunting, because you can throw a freaking deer carcass in these things and get them back down. Oh yeah, these are big kayaks that we haul to and from. And yeah, it's, to me, it was a big deal for me that experience is, I don't want them sweating that so bad.
Yeah.
I want them to focus on fishing and just being there with their buddies, their kid, their spouse, whatever.
I've seen some really nice kayaks. We got some groups out here that do small groups of veterans and first responders that go out here. And I mean, we're talking like the one guy had like a $6,500 kayak. It held like 500 pounds, and he had all the monitors and sonar and everything like that. I was just like, geez, it's like something out of a movie or something like that. It's pretty nice. My sister Heather, yes, he would fall in the water because yes.
A lot of the cool thing about the kayak community, Adam, is that there are the purists. Give me the paddle only, and they want a 10-foot. That's what they want to do. And it's I envision them like with leather straps tied to their arm and a knife, held in their mouth as they're out there, maybe hand lining for fish or something.
Like the new pirate or something.
Right. From those individuals up to the jokers like me that look for every bit of technology, and I'm running an embarrassing amount of lithium power on my kayak that I'm running. There's still common ground that it's kayak fishing.
Yeah.
It's still a community in there, and they give room for each other. Now, like I said, I cannot just go out and paddle and try to fish. That is the most aggravating, anxiety building. I got nets and fish and paddles and no.
Your tackle and the live bait if you're taking it, depending on where you're going. And that could
not that kind of trip, Lance.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Well, we all have our own visions, Lance.
I kind of worry about him, but he's the one that Patriot Pride. Morning, guys. Mark, Andrew. I'm not sure who the guest, and that's maybe Mark. Appreciate you guys jumping on, everybody.
But yeah, man, it's about just finding that community piece and locking in there. And with the kayaks, you are definitely there. I never realized how strong a 2-pound bass is, dude. If you're not locked in using something, they'll pull your kayak around.
Yeah,
a 2-pound bass will. It's like, good Lord.
I'm starting to see more and more. I'd say maybe the last 4 years, maybe 5 years, that the kayak community on a nationwide level is getting bigger. You're seeing more and more kayak. There's several tournaments out here that are just kayak tournaments only. Tournaments only for fishing, and I think it's like I said, I got to get more comfortable. I just haven't found the right kayak to be in, because a lot of the ones that I'm in are the sit down ones. But like I said, I've seen several guys are just some of these kayaks can be really, really nice, and you see them 3-4 poles that they're out there. Some of them are paddling, and it's almost like they're trolling, right? Throw the line out, and so I love it. I love fishing. Period. I'm just I geek out about it. I love, days and days on it.
To me, the hunt for bass was everything. I love any kind of fishing, but to be honest with you, it's been forever since I've done other kind of fishing. The last every walleye that I have ever caught in my life has been on accident. And I've caught a lot, living up in Minnesota, it's
to be the case with unless you're ice fishing,
right?
Which Minnesota's, great ice fishing up there.
Yeah.
I like pan fishing too. Crappie fishing. I love crappie fishing. Pike, just because they're fun, but it's hard to beat bass fishing, especially if you get them to come up on a top water.
Oh yeah.
And just rip it off the top of the water and then just go to it's so much fun.
I knew I was in trouble when
in northern Indiana. Nice. Okay.
Hey Joe, how are you, buddy? It's a guy that I met out at a show in Nebraska out there. He's a U.S. vet, I believe, Army, if memory serves.
Good dude.
Sorry, Joe, if I labeled you wrong on that, but I think that's what it is.
Got a good crowd this morning. Loving this. So you would say bass fishing would be your go-to over any other fish?
Yeah, it's the hunt. These are top line predators. They're sight predators. They're ambush predators. And it's the hunt. I respect and love the fish, and want to basically fool them, right?
Yeah.
And so I love hard condition fishing. I don't like pressured fishing. There's a difference, but I do enjoy hard conditions, just because it separates out the non-packers out of the field.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing I love about competitive fishing maybe the most is the fact that there are zero shortcuts. Nothing replaces hard work and time on the water. If you don't put it in, you won't get it out.
Right.
Now, you might get lucky, a splash in the pan. I see these guys like on the elite levels all the time. I see the big press that's given to the rookies, this and this. I got to be honest with you, man. I'm one of those, get off my lawn, age is where I'm at right now. And I see these rookies going, tell you what, show me next year. Show me you can do it 2 years in a row. Right now you got momentum on your side, but let's see if you can keep it going. Because to me, that's where greatness and the vets of these organizations prove themselves. So, yeah, I'm one of the old guys out there. We're not going to be chasing for the first time in our career. We're not going to be chasing anything on the national level this year. We're focused more on the TPO and our service, but we are. I've never been more juiced up for competition than what I am right now on the local level. I got a fire, burning inside that I haven't felt in a long time, dude. I am so freaking stoked and ready to go and get this new Unlimited out on the water and take all of my good buddies out here, take these suckers' money. I'll be looking for it.
Well, listen, why don't you tell all the viewers and listeners where they can get more information and how they can get involved if they're interested?
Heck yeah. And again, we do operate across the Midwest. We'll operate anywhere. I've got connections with nonprofits all across the country. And so if there's a need for service out there, I will do everything in my power to help connect there. So, but at True Patriot Outfitters, man, that's the number one you'll find all of our socials there. You'll find us at YouTube there. Our podcast, of course, is the TPO Doc Talk podcast. There's several Doc Talk podcasts running around out there, but all of them, the beauty is my SEO is working better, because if you search that, it takes you to me. So we're like, hey, nice job, website guys. But TPO Doc Talk podcast, that's us. But you can hit me up any one of those, or of course TruePatriotOutfitters.org. We're always looking for volunteers. We're always looking for more. To be honest with you, the biggest need we have is just more people to take fishing.
Yeah.
We basically, it isn't a one and done thing. We stay in contact, and I want to basically keep a nice revolving door. If you want to go out 3-4 times a year, let's go. That's what we're here for, man. And so it's the more we can, but obviously it helps us from the business side of an organization to serve more and more folks that we can.
Right.
Unfortunately, the bean counters, when they're looking to divvy out funds to nonprofits, they want to see numbers like that. So.
Well, folks, make sure you guys go check it out. 06 Reveille over there on the Instagram. I see you over there. Appreciate you guys jumping on. Good Marine Corps apparel company there. Lance, what is 13? We're gonna need more.
And leather straps. We're definitely going to need more of those.
Lance is showing his true colors. Lance is out there in Arizona, and they got shout out to Lance real quick, because they got the Tillman ride coming up here pretty soon. We'll be posting about that in March. Let's easy. Let's get into some news stuff. Let's transition to some of the news stuff. Joe said, if you don't, you see that, Gene?
Yeah, absolutely, Joe. If you want to hit Norton up, hit me up in the DMs, brother. We'll connect up, and we'll get you on the list there for sure. Because we still have 2 more spots for that one.
I think I'm gonna have to open up my summer or the. How late do you go in the year? How late? Yeah, like up to what month?
So Colorado is pretty restrictive. So our Colorado trips get locked off usually by the end of September, just because they don't let us on the water anymore out here. It's ridiculous.
Really?
Whole new podcast. All of our water is man-made. Okay, they're all reservoirs. Many of them are drinking waters. So they have a season of when they allow traffic on these waters. A couple of the state parks will stay open, into October, November. And then after that, they shut us down. And so basically it's a, you have to play. Lake Pueblo is probably the best fishery in the entire state. It stays open. But like right now we got some ice on it here and there. We got some good weather coming though. So I'm looking hopefully to get down there Monday and knock off the dust. But, Lake Bronson in Minnesota. No, I don't think I ever went to Lake Bronson. I have a lot of connections still back in Minnesota, and so yeah, we'll do trips up there. Obviously, it's a little bit of planning for me to get the gear out there to get our kayaks and everything. And it's
I think Bronson's way up north, if I'm not mistaken.
So that's probably a 15, 16 hour run for us. Yeah,
towards Canada, I think.
But we'll do it.
Yeah. Well, there you go, Lance. And anybody else out there that wants to get involved, go fishing, set it up, whether it's in Colorado or see where they'll come. Rich, what's up, brother? How are you? Let's dive in. I want to change it up a little bit. Yeah. We got 30 minutes in. I'm loving this, guys. Lots happened in the news this week, and everybody knows that this is one of the fun parts for me of the show. But before we do that, I just want to give a shout out. I got this nice shirt and some hats from our friends at From the Farm. Make sure you go check them out, From the Farm. Find out, my question is, I've said this before, where are you guys getting your beef from? Support your local farmers and ranchers. Best decision I've made as far as my eating habits go, and everybody knows how much I love to eat, is purchasing from a local farmer. I have helped our local farmers stay in business for damn sure. So that being said, Gene, let's get into some of the topics here that I found this week. Yesterday, Kash Patel confirmed by the Senate as FBI director. Senate confirmed Kash Patel as the FBI director in a 51-49 vote. Really, all I have to say about this is ding, game on. Like, I think shit's about to get real. I mean, shoot. Sorry. Well, there you go. I'll probably get checked. It's about to get real. I think you're going to see a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of people sweating right now. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Any take on that, Gene?
I'm going to be embarrassingly honest about this. I don't know much of this gentleman's history, so no, I don't really have. The bottom line is, if it's somebody that's outside, you'll learn something about me for sure. If it's somebody that's outside the extremes, then I'm in for them. I'm not an anti-system person. I believe our system is designed properly the way it needs to be. But what I don't like are the extremes, extreme left, extreme right. I don't like those guys having the microphone.
Mainstream media wants you to focus on is
far left, far right. It's time for common sense and moderate voices to take over. The other guys have had their shot. They ruined it. They screwed it up. So if this guy runs that way and he is as black and white with the law as I think we can be, let the judges go in the gray area. The people that are going after it need to be black and white about it. I
think it's a good move. I think it's going to be a good move. I think you're going to see a lot of cuts, especially in the FBI side of things. I think you're going to, Adam Schiff has already come out and so yesterday morning threw a hissy fit on live television about he's not qualified, he's not this, he's not that, throwing him under the bus, and then 3 hours later, they dug up a whole bunch of dirt on him and made that public. It's going to be, I'm telling you, pop some popcorn, folks, or get your favorite treat. Sit down and watch the shit show because it's going to get fun here real quick. I could tell you.
One of the things that I saw this little video taken, it was the best explanation. We see about all these cuts and everything that's going on, and we've all known it's there, right? Now we're seeing it.
Yeah.
But the people that are complaining about this, the tactics, this is very much like the situation where the guy cheats on his girlfriend. The girlfriend checks his phone out, sees that he's been cheating, confronts him. And the guy comes back with, I can't believe you went and invaded my personal space. He tries to turn it around like that's the issue. It's like, hold on. We just said $70 billion has been getting stolen from you, and you're worried about how they did it, that they didn't say please? Come on, man.
Yeah.
Let's Randy Moss. Come on, man.
David Gordon, he will be very black and white, and that's such a true statement. And that's what I love about it. He's Patella looks like it's just very. This is what it is. You don't
Nice.
have to like it, but this is what it is. And everybody complaining about all these job cuts. Speaking of job cuts, IRS, one of my favorite organizations, cut 6,000 jobs, and they're downsizing. I, for one, am shocked that this is happening. Let's see here. The Internal Revenue Service announced Thursday of the termination of approximately 6,000 employees, representing about 6% of the workforce. Now, the majority of it, truth be told, the majority of these were people that were hired during the Biden administration. So, I personally, I would not be heartbroken if they just shut the IRS down.
Right.
My opinion, or wish, however you want to look at that. But yeah, so the IRS is downsizing. That's a good start. It's really it. That's all I had for that one. That's here's one I think everybody's gonna love, especially all my military vets. Cartels officially listed as global terrorist organizations. What does that mean? Well, the State Department has designated several drug cartels as a global terrorist, not tourist, terrorist or global. They're kind of tourists when you think about it, but global terrorist organizations. Oh my God, I can't read. What does this mean? This means it's open. There's a new hunting season that just opened up here by the State Department, and we are now sending Tier 1 and Special Forces down into areas, I'll say, where and they're going to start training locals, local law enforcement and military people to learn to combat these cartels. I think this is another good decision. Personally, I you want to, with all of the biggest thing that the Trump organization said was, like, in order to combat the cartels, that in doing this, it'll help with everybody, all the different crossings at the borders, human trafficking, obviously all the drugs, which has been a big thing. I can't see anything wrong with this, quite frankly. Excuse me.
The way I never want to see our brothers and sisters getting in harm's way.
Yeah.
However, we have the finest fighting force on this planet, that does serve a purpose. And if I'm given the option to, as a citizen, to support political gain or rid the world of, some scumbags that basically are at the heart of just about everything. And to be honest with you, it gives some good training opportunities, in my opinion. Moving targets are a lot more, efficient in training than solitary things sitting in the desert. So, obviously, and I never get zooked up about, like I said, when harm's way gets into play, but
yeah.
No, man, talk about taking a load off of local, a load off of taxation. I mean, we all know the war on drugs was such a money and life draining, system. It did not work the way it was intended to. It hurt so much. So this offers an opportunity. Yeah, I think it doesn't sound bad.
I think the thing with this is that, although the State Department has come out and designated these several drug cartels as terrorist organizations, that's not to say that, the military has been kind of fighting cartels for for a while, or have been in other countries in South America and stuff like that, doing trainings and fighting certain organizations and whatnot. I just think now that it's on paper and they're listed who they're probably going to go after, I think hopefully, if this works out the way it's supposed to, we'll start seeing less drug trafficking, more importantly, less human trafficking happening here in the United States. So I think this is a good thing. What do we have here? I'm going to catch up on some of these. Let's see here. Taxation is theft. Absolutely. More drones. Joe, how do you feel about the Gulf of America? I've never been one for change, really, but this one here, I could get behind it. Because if you think about it, I mean, honestly, it's, you know, the Gulf there is between North America and South America. So it's like it's the Gulf of America, right? So I mean, it would make, I mean, it makes sense. And
Not
I've seen people go back and forth on on social media, and it was like, you have the Gulf of California, and somebody said, "All right, Mexico, it's your turn." It's like you're gonna change, like, from the, this is gonna be the Gulf of Mexico here.
So I don't have any research on this view, but I think I understood where it came from. To be honest with you, and there's a strategic move to make this happen that a lot of people don't think about. There were restrictions that were placed in the most recent 4 years on drilling and operations in the Gulf of Mexico, as the restrictions are written. But there are no restrictions in the Gulf of America. So there's some speculation that that's what this move is. A rename takes place.
Yeah, it's a
bang.
money move, and
yeah, we can open up for stuff.
We tap into our own oil reserves and bring the gas prices down.
I wouldn't complain about that, man.
I'm done paying, nearly $4 a gallon. It's I'm done. I'm done with it. But it's Joe, what a dumb loophole. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong.
Politics.
Yeah,
and I don't know if that's real or not. It's just
I haven't really crawled down that rabbit hole, but now I'm going to write that down, because I think that's one I wouldn't mind going under just to see what it's like. But moving on, what do we have here? We got a couple more here. Stay with us, folks. Federal agencies spent $10 billion on migrants last year. Watchdog organization opened up the books, revealed that the Office of Refugee Resettlement, or ORR, under the Department of Health and Human Services, distributed $10 billion, to migrants in 2023. That's a lot of money to be spending on migrants. Gene, here's one thing that you didn't hear in my little rant right there. None of that money was spent on homeless here in the United States. It was not spent on veterans. It was not any of that other stuff. Tom Holman believes that there may be as many as 300,000 unaccompanied migrant children present right now in the United States. This was as of earlier this week. This is, it says here in the article, a dozen of GOP members of Congress condemned the former Biden administration for the way that they handled this. And then it goes on. You guys, again, don't take my word for any of this stuff. Look this stuff up. But one of the biggest things is the reason why they're doing this. The Biden administration didn't handle this very well. It opened up to make child trafficking and smuggling much easier. So, and that's got to stop. I'm sorry. I have no tolerance, no patience for any type of human trafficking, especially when it comes, stay away from the kids. So yeah, that's
this is where I'm again, I'm not anti-establishment, but this is where I get angry at both parties for this, because there's something that stays in our chaw, and it stays in our news articles because it gives the people something to clamor about and argue about, and it keeps our attention away from what's going on up there. But there's a legal process to come to America, and no one is restricted from that unless you're on the terror list.
Yep.
If you're a scumbag, we don't want you.
Yep.
If the complaint is that the process to get into America is difficult and daunting, and okay, fair enough. I've seen some of those things. Yeah, they are quizzed on things that even our own citizens don't know. I'm with you. So fix that. Just fix that and get this right, and so we can get away from this. But if illegal is illegal, and I'll be honest with you, one of the things that I'm really tired of is that putting American citizens and it's people first is not racist, man. I'm sorry. I want us first. And that's where I do line up very cleanly with one side, is that being proud of being American and being desired to take care of our issues first before we start lending a hand. It's the old lifeguard thing, man. If we're drowning, we can't help anybody. So let's take care of our kids, our vets, our homeless, our sick. Let's get that under control. Then we can start reaching out to our neighbors going, okay, what can we do to help you out here? All right. And now that we're in a good place. But yeah, I'm tired of hearing that America first means you're racist. Shut up. No, it doesn't. It means we care about our neighbors and our brothers and sisters. That's what it means.
I really couldn't have said it better myself. I was just gonna say, I was like, I got no problem helping other nations and stuff like that. Now, I don't want to spend $32,000 on Sesame Street in Iraq. I don't want to spend millions of dollars for sex changes for children in Guatemala. That's not how I think of helping. And more importantly, we spent millions of billions of dollars in foreign aid. Let's get our shit cleaned up here at home first, and then we can go out and help other again. And that's not a dig on anybody else, and that's not to say that I'm cold-hearted or anything like that, because most people that know me would say that I'm not. I'd give the shirt off my back to people, but at the same time, I'm going to give the shirt off my back to people here at home first before I give it to somebody else. Because if that makes me a bad person, well, then I guess I'll never be a good person, and I'd be okay with that. Piss off, whatever. So anyway, moving on. You get me on
stoking the fire. Stoking the fire.
Stop it. I know what you're doing. Hey, listen, guys, I got one more here, and this one here. This is me stirring the pot. Okay, the Trump administration reviews $4 billion in California high-speed rail grants. Okay, this one. All right, so let's back it up a little bit. Everybody remember a couple years ago they started this back in 2008, the California high-speed rail project. It was supposed to be this 800-mile project, and they're wondering where all the money went. Well, Gene,
I may not be a smart man.
What's going on here? $4 billion with a B in federal grants allocated to California's high-speed rail project. This decision reflects ongoing concerns about the project's management and financial availability. The Department of Transportation announced the review on yesterday, citing issues related to the California High-Speed Rail Authority's ability to meet federal requirements and project deadlines. Huh. Well,
say it isn't so.
Back it up a second here. Let's just bring it on in here for a second. Now, I could be wrong. It's still early in the morning out here, right? It'd be the first time today. But who is in charge of the California high-speed rail system? Anybody want to take a guess?
Does it rhyme with Newsom?
Not the person I'm thinking of.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's going to get so much better. It's somebody's husband who is a high-figured person in D.C. or I think she's still alive, right? Anybody know Nancy Pelosi?
Oh, good Lord.
Her husband's company had the contract for this rail system. Now,
what a coincidence.
I know.
Right? What are the chances
that they're behind? Now, the entire project was initially estimated to cost $40 billion due to the time that has passed since the project start in 2008. The overall budget has risen $128 billion, shocker, according to the Department of Transportation. I already mentioned it's an 800-mile long project. Now it is projected to cost more than the original budget of $33 billion. So taxpayers have subsidized all of this so far. Well, the majority of this so far. And nothing's being done. Now, this is where I want to stir the pot and just sprinkle some shit on this. Just because I can. You've seen a lot of conspiracies about the fires and stuff like that has happened in California. And if you put a map over the area where the rail system was supposed to be, a lot of that area that was hit was the rail. I'm not saying, now listen, I know some of you, Adam, you're blah, 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 blah. I already said I'm stirring the pot. I already said that, so put that aside. And I'm not saying that that's what it is. I'm just saying, look it up and do some research. But the fact that California is doing this, are we surprised though at California at this point on what happened? I got a lot of friends out in California, and they all, it's like it's just ridiculous out there. But $4 billion in the real, I'm wondering what's going to happen next. I would like to see, or I'm going to predict that what's going to happen is they're going to find out again. The news will start putting out who's really behind this and what it's cost everybody. And I'm thinking, or I'd like to think that they're going to scrap it. I don't think they will. I think they'll find a way to make it happen eventually. It'll probably get postponed, but it'll be under somebody else's supervision at that point.
And not to jump too far down the rabbit hole, but I'll say this and my feelings on the connection with the Pelosi piece. Listen, it was wrong when Halliburton did it. It's wrong now. Okay, yeah. Conflict of interest. All right, yeah. It just is what it is. Like I said, you'll see me. I run right down the middle, and so it's, if you're going to hold one accountable and jump on them, then you need to be jumping on this side too, to go, what the hell?
Yeah, I get it, and I think that's where a lot of people from both sides, you've seen people getting pissed off about, Doge going in and you're getting mad at Elon Musk for going in and telling you where your tax dollars are going. Like, I 2 weeks ago, I was on the show here, and I told you where we were spending money. $32,000 for Sesame Street in Iraq.
Yep.
I don't think, I'm pretty sure that if you went to Iraq to watch TV, not that it's on I've been there. It certainly was not on my tourist destinations. I'm certainly not going to be watching Sesame Street in Arabic. Oh, somebody in Guatemala wants to get their kid a sex change. Oh, here, let's send millions of dollars down there to make that happen. That's where your tax money is going. Or I used the Ukraine, thing last week. When I said the president came out, or the Ukraine came out and said he's $200 billion or whatever the amount was. He says, I'm only seeing half of it. Where'd the other half go? Yeah. Follow the money. Listen, guys, come on. Jesus, oh God.
The crickets coming from one side of the aisle is maybe also the part that annoys me the most. It's like, hey, if we're going to hold everybody accountable, then let's do it, man. We the people.
Yeah, it's both. There's both parties are guilty of it.
Sure,
but the news will want you to think one or the other.
Yeah,
And I said when the whole this war in Ukraine kicked off, it's the mineral rights. That's what it's going to be. And look what happened last week. President Trump came out and made a deal, or there's a deal that's supposed to be being made with Ukraine, saying that, hey, we're going to recoup some of that money back, but we're going to get it in mineral rights. And I was like, okay, well, now this is starting to make more sense. That's a both side of the aisle.
The difference is it's transparent now, at least, though.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like, here, this is what it is. This is what's going on. Well, does that make it any better? Yeah, at least we know about it, as opposed to it just being like, oh, here, we're going to show you this here, but this is what's going on. The left hand's doing this in the background here. You know what I mean?
This at least stops people from changing their Facebook profile page thinking they're social warriors. Okay. Because, I support that. No, you don't. Putting up a color on your Facebook page is not supporting you. No, this, come on. This at least dispels that.
We're dropping viewers right now. Oh, God.
Get out, do something. But this at least stops that falsity, keeps that from happening, which is, I personally appreciate that. I like transparency.
Yeah, listen, if you're going to embezzle the taxpayers' money,
right?
Shit, at least tell us where it's going to, Don't hide it. God, make it far worse. All right, listen, let's get into we got a couple. I'm loving this. And again, I want to thank everybody that's jumped on all your comments on all the different platforms today. Thank you very much. We're going to dive into what you've missed on some of the podcasts this week. And since our guest is the host of Doc Talk Podcast, let's go ahead and start with TPO Doc Talk. What did you guys talk about this week?
So we had an all Eagle Claw show, man. I have been lucky enough to be a part of Eagle Claw as a company, as part of the regional pro staff. It's a legacy company, American made since 1925. These guys, one of the cool stories they always tell is about what, when manufacturing had to change during World War II in the country. Eagle Claw's role in that, they changed from doing fish hooks to making survival packs for the boys. Okay. And they slid in and included some fish hooks in there, so the boys, if they had an opportunity, they could do their own fishing, type thing. We had an all Eagle Claw show. We had the director of all marketing there, Mr. Eric Ali, who I have the pleasure of knowing and fishing with out here. They're based out of Denver, Colorado, American made. I love his statement. I do earmuffs real quick, kids. His best statement, he tells us team members, you have American made fish hooks and you have dog shit. Your choice. Which way do you want to go? So
those are the only hooks I fish with.
Yeah. And so
I absolutely love them. Best
we had a great show there. We talked a lot about Eagle Claw, this and that. Next week's show, man, we're kind of stretching out here a little bit. We got a friend of mine. I used to work with him at Rochester Public Schools, Mr. Ricky Williams, U.S. Army vet. Dude has a lot of he's a social media influencer, of course, but I call him an intellectual artist. He has some very polarizing opinions on certain things, but everything, no matter if you like him or not, I didn't always agree with Ricky on his stuff, but the thing that you always have to admit is that he's never flying off the handle.
Yeah.
There's thought and there's purpose behind everything he tells you. And so I'm excited to have Ricky coming on the show, man. And we'll have him jumping on there and kind of share some of his story and get to know this dude a little bit more. And you know us, man, anything involved around vets, veteran-owned businesses of any kinds, we're gonna get behind that, promote that wherever we can.
I love it. One of the things I love is like sitting down with and having conversations with people that you don't necessarily agree with everything that they say. Maybe they're a little bit on the other side of the aisle than what you believe, but sitting down, having a kind of learning from each other, and then getting up and then be like, all right, let's have coffee next week or something like that. You know what I mean? Like being respectful. Like that's how it should be, not this whole F you, you're a moron. I've always said like the mainstream media is the biggest hater of our lives, right? They just want to divide everybody. It's like, divide, and I think if you look at we'll take the United States as a whole, I think you'd find probably 90+% of the people are right here in the middle. We're not too far different from each other. But since we have crap for media, not us, I'm talking about the mainstream media.
That's right.
Clear on that. That's, people will like to divide. All right, listen. So good. Make sure you check it out. That is True Patriot Outfitters, TPO's Doc Talk. And when you do the lives, when do you do the lives?
Our show airs every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Central. Most of our shows are live, especially during this off season. Once fishing season and our events kick off, a lot of my shows will be recorded. That will air. We'll record them and then air them after that. But nevertheless, Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Central.
All right, perfect. Thank you for that. And those of you over on the IG, we're coming up on the hour, and I think there's like an hour time limit on the IG. So appreciate you guys jumping on. But we're going to continue on. Next up, we got the strategic veteran, special guest Christine Morgan, Marine Corps veteran, entrepreneur. She shares her powerful journey from military transition to overcoming unique obstacles as a woman veteran advocate. Some of the things that you're going to learn in this episode this week: why transitioning from the military to business can feel overwhelming, and how to find the right support. You're also going to learn how leadership skills gained during service can drive you to succeed in the civilian life. You'll also learn real life strategies to conquer imposter syndrome and regain a sense of identity post service. Great episode as I'm sitting here spitting all over the camera and everything. This is Strategic Veteran. Go check it out, folks. Don't forget, you can find all of the shows at Heroes Media Group. Go to heroesmediagroup.com, click on the shows, make sure you follow their social platforms and give them a like and a follow. Next up, we got Homefront Sit Rep Podcast. This week, they do a show every Sunday and Monday. Monday night show, Mr. Willis and Gunny, they're just sitting around shooting the breeze, talking about life, family, and veteran stuff, of course. So make sure you go check that out, Homefront Sit Rep. They're live, like I said, Sunday and Monday nights. You can find them here on HMG as well. Next up, we got the JMac podcast. This week, Morgan Lorette, I hope I said that name right, a veteran of both the U.S. Air Force and the U.S. Army. Hopefully it was Army first and then Air Force. Not often that you see Air Force going into the Army. Usually it's the other way around. Anyway, he's the author of Guns, Girls, and Greed. Sounds like a great book. He was a Blackwater mercenary in Iraq. Shares his unique journey through multiple military branches as he transitions to working with Blackwater in Iraq, and then the challenges he faced during and after his service. Pretty interesting episode here. It's the JMac podcast. Go check it out. This one's a very time-sensitive episode, this next one. SeniorLivingGuide.com. I'm not talking about for me and Gene, folks. Stop it. I know what you guys are thinking. This week, it's literally, it says right here, it's time-sensitive because they're talking with AARP's community challenge that they have going on right now. Grants for Change. They're joined with Mike Watson, Director of Livable Communities at AARP. They're talking about, they discussed their 2025 grant opportunities, including their flagship grants of up to $25,000 for public space and transportation improvements and more. They also have a ton of micro grants for disaster preparedness and a whole lot more. You can go to AARP to check that out, but listen to this episode. This was a great episode. It was about 25 minutes long. SeniorLivingGuide.com. What do we got next? Next up, we got the Shay Sparks Show. After a little bit of a hiatus, it's great to have Shay back. She asked the question, have you been keeping a secret? That's a loaded question. Have you been reluctant to tell someone the truth because you fear that you'll feel ashamed every day? In this episode, our amazing guest, Krista Oakes, shares her journey of feeling shame and how she shed that shame. She uncovers the twists and turns of her childhood and how she was able to heal through yoga and sharing her story in her brilliant book, Shedding the Shame. Go check it out. Shay Sparks Show. Good episode. Next up, we got Patriots Inside the Wire every Tuesday, Wednesday, Sunday. Tracy, I can't keep track of Tracy anymore. She does Gold Star Mother, fabulous woman, doing a ton of shows. But this week she had Bad Boy Leroy. It's a rockin' tribe. That's the name of it. Bad Boy Leroy. Infamous Texas singer, songwriter, and veteran, bringing raw, real music straight from the heart of Texas. Make sure you go check that out. She goes live on Patriots Inside the Wire Facebook page every week. Go show them some love. Next up, we got Bump in the Road. This week's topic, women entrepreneurs breaking barriers. Kara Wilson Granite was taken with she was taken by the story of Anne Frank's, the story of Anne Frank, World War II. For those of you who don't remember history, come on, people. Anne Frank, as you recall, wrote a book about her experience as a young Jewish girl hiding from the Nazis during World War II. Her writings are published in books So when she had a chance for a Hollywood audition to star as a role of Anne Frank appeared, Kara took a leap at that opportunity. She didn't get the role, but she did get a lifelong friend and mentor in Otto Frank, Anne's father. Yeah, crazy. And that relationship changed her life. This whole story about this whole story is about love, the love of stories, about literature, and about how reaching out and following your passion can impact your life's purpose. This was
Wow.
absolutely amazing listening to this episode. Crazy, crazy. Bump in the road. Go check it out. What do we got next here? Ooh. We got one of the OGs of HMG. I'm talking about the Arms Room Show. They do a show every Monday. New episode comes out every Monday at 2 p.m. Arizona time because they don't recognize daylight savings. This week, they're discussing with Daryl, their friend Daryl, about modern aircraft identification and their operations. You wouldn't think you need to really pay attention to something like aircraft. This one here really gets you to think twice about aircraft and identifying aircraft and the operations that they're doing. I love this show, the Arms Room Show. They always put on great content. This is definitely one I encourage everybody to listen to. Very eye-opening. The Arms Room Show. Check it out. We got a few more here this week. Next up, we got the Misfit Nation podcast. This week, host Rich LaMonica. Rich was on a little bit earlier here. Welcomes U.S. Army veteran. Excuse me, I got the hiccups. Martin, a.k.a. Ty Cobb. Born in Corbin, Kentucky, home of the original KFC. There's a fun fact for you. Trivia pursuit question for you. Ty grew up passionate about sports service. After spending a stint in Jacksonville's club scene and a Foot Locker management, he enlisted into the Army in 1998, embarking on a distinguished career with multiple deployments and lifelong friendships. Now a civilian in the Houston area, Ty dedicates himself to supporting fellow veterans, providing tools to heal and cope with PTS. Great, inspiring interview here. Misfit Nation, they got a Tuesday crew too. I want to give a shout out to the Tuesday crew. Misfit Nation does a couple shows each week. Just make sure you follow them, check them out. We got your 6 at 6 with the People's Patriot Project every Sunday night, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. This past week, they had Mike Byer from Operation Song on the episode, first time on the show. And then they also had music from Steve Wilson this past week. So another organization, great organization, People's Patriot Project, and they do several shows throughout the week as well. Go follow them, but their big show on Sunday nights, kind of a round table. I love it. And they do live music with veteran artists that come in and play music and stuff. So it's pretty cool. Check it out. People's Patriot Project. The Decision Hour with yours truly. That's right. I got back behind the microphone and blessed you with a new episode. This week I talked with Iraq War veteran Stephen Russell. Really cool guy. He talks about his experience in the military, which was pretty interesting. And then what his transition was like, and then how he got into comic books and writing comics. And then we talk briefly about the Veteran Comic-Con that's happening later this year in San Francisco. Really cool stuff. And in the show notes, if you go check it out, in the show notes, it gives you links to some of his comic books and stuff like that. Really cool. Decision Hour. Go check it out. Next up, Other Side of the Firewall. This week, the hosts talk issues surrounding cybersecurity and the space technology. Other Side of the Firewall, I've learned so much from these guys because I'm not an IT person, but they do a show every day, Monday through Friday. They got an episode that comes out every day. Check it out, Other Side of the Firewall. Okay, next two more guys. Stay with me. Next up, we got the MSEC podcast, Military Child Education Coalition, great nonprofit organization based out of Texas. They do a ton of stuff for the military child. Oftentimes, we forget about the families of the soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marine. This organization here, they're all about the families, particularly the children, and it's awesome. They got a slew of resources. So if you're a veteran or you're active duty, guard, or reserve, and you have children at home that are still in school, please go check out this organization. This week, Dr. Brooke Rice, she's the vice president of the curriculum and work-based learning at NAF, discusses a changing landscape of the college and career readiness for high school students. Gives out a ton of resources that you can use. Go check it out. MSEC podcast. Last but certainly not least, we got Rise Up Voices from the Front Line. This week, Heidi Chance, a retired detective and renowned expert in sex trafficking, joins the show. In this compelling episode, Heidi shares her journey from the Phoenix Police Department to becoming a leading voice in combating sex trafficking. Very, very interesting episode here. Rise Up Voices on the Front Line. And that's it for the shows. Let me give a shout out quick here, Gene, to our sponsors. Again, one of our newest sponsors, From the Farm. They sent this badass shirt. I got a hat. I got another hat downstairs. FromTheFarm.com. Go check them out. If you know any ranchers in your local area, I had some stickers here too. I can't find them. I don't know what I did with them. Anyway, local ranchers, farmers in your area, get them on this site. It helps out those local farmers and ranchers in your area. It's like a big directory. I mean, if you don't know who's in your area, go to the website, then click on where you're at, and you might find the local farmers and ranchers in your area. My Tax Fella. It's tax season, everybody's favorite time of year. I don't like numbers. I don't do taxes. I go to the best. And my boy Anthony Moriello over at My Tax Fella, his entire staff over there. They got 3 offices, their entire staff, every single person is absolutely amazing. If you're a small business owner or you need help with your taxes or your bookkeeping, go visit mytaxfella.com. Check them out. Forget Genetics, for all of you woodsmen or ladies out there that want the animals in your yard or in your woods, grow those big bucks. Go check out Forget Genetics. It's the best stuff on the market, hands down. Jim Neary's Live Bait and Tackle and Warriors on the Water LTD. Great organizations, our big sponsors here. We absolutely love you guys. Thank you. Make sure you go check them out. And I forgot to turn my fan on, so we're just going to keep going as it's coming in and out right now. Fin Tactical, great organization. Go check them out. They did our website. I'm sitting here turning on the fan an hour late. We're going to keep rolling. VA Claim Builder, another great organization. Go check them out. Our sister company, HMG Beverage. Go to hmgcoffee.com. And then JB Auto Clothiers. Go check them out as well. That's it. Done. I'm done to the point that the camera got sick of looking at me.
You actually did break it, Adam. I'm just going to say.
You broke the camera.
Real quick, if you don't mind, we just wanted
Go for it, brother.
Just also wanted to just send some great thank yous to the couple of the industry supporters we have that keep the TPO Doc Talk. Of course, Romans Warrior Foundation, man, Brian Romans, that entire team, Michael Gasparini, Brian's family, Mike's family. They make a lot of really important things happen around the country with the Global War on Terror's Wall of Remembrance, with the Label 22, with the Hoosiers with Hearts, disaster relief team. It's a fantastic organization, and they have stood us up for this season for the Doc Talk podcast. So huge love to those guys. Brian isn't a friend; he's a brother of mine. I love him to death. And so, yeah, they've done a great deal there. New Canoe, of course, they've been Blake Young. It's a U.S. veteran-owned organization, Made in America kayaks. We love that we rock them personally, and also through the TPO. Eagle Claw, Eric and that entire team over there, American made hooks since 1925. You're seeing a theme going along with this here, that supporters of the TPO and the work that we do. And then while the source of this stuff doesn't come here, it is built here, and it's put together by an awesome group, and that's Amped Outdoors Lithium Batteries. Matt over there and his entire team have been supporters of our work and have taken care of us for many years now, and we just absolutely love and trust the work that Amped Outdoors does. So huge thanks to all those guys. And the last but not least, if I could leave our viewers with something today, check out recreational therapy, otherwise known as therapeutic recreation. I don't care where it's at, and really, to be honest with you, don't care where it comes from. Probably the biggest researching organization that has really blazed paths for kayak fishing has been Heroes on the Water across the nation. That's an amazing organization. They just announced their 2025 board, which is like, oh my gosh, what an amazing set of board. We look at those guys as, hey man, that's, we're watching them very closely. I am honored. I actually am a part of Heroes on the Water as well. I'm a therapeutic coordinator for the Denver VA program that we have out here. So I learn a lot from working with that organization side by side. And if it shows you where their mind's at, they know that I run an organization that does kayak fishing also, a nonprofit, and they said that's awesome. They love it. So there's no competition here. This is more, we're here to serve people, and that's their mentality. But yeah, check it out, man. Recreational therapy. It's the VA is spending money on pickleball, CrossFit, dance, art, music. It's a hell of a lot better than sitting in a room with a revolving door that sits in the seat in front of you. Yeah.
I can get back into dancing?
Yeah, you could, Mr. Two Left Feet. I'm sure we could get you. Are you like underground Vanilla Ice? I mean, you cutting a rug at them?
Maybe they don't cover that kind of dancing. Anyway, that's all the time.
Yeah, I don't know if you get a claim on that one.
Somebody right now, it's just like, report him.
Thank you, man, so very much. We appreciate it.
I appreciate you being on today, man. And thank you for everything that you do for our first responders and our veterans. And folks, go check out TPO Doc Talk and True Patriot Outfitters. Gene, thanks again, brother. Appreciate you, folks. That's it. That's all the time that we got. Remember, stuff we talked about today. I got to put this out there because I get an email or a message at least once a week, and yeah, it's just hold on a second. My pop's got to say something here. What is it?
Need a bigger pole. Seriously anchored.
Folks, that's all the time. I shouldn't have put that other. Folks, that's all the time that we got. Listen, reminder, stuff that we talk about, go research this stuff yourself, all right? Protect your mind and your thoughts and where you're getting the information. Get outside this weekend if you can. It's cold here right now, so I'm not going outside. But get off the internet, get off the phones, do something with the family this weekend if you can. God bless you. God bless America. We'll be right back here next week. Thank you all for being here. We'll see you guys next week.